Everything's on fire. Everything's on fire. Everything's on fire.
Play today. Wrong one. Wrong screen. Check this out. We got the right screen now. We had 4 boxes with 3 of them empty. It was just me sitting there. So that was fun. Good morning.
Oh, yeah.
Sunday morning, week 10. Holy cow. The season is winding down, and it's not very exciting to know that we are over halfway done with the regular season. Most fantasy seasons only have 4 weeks left in the regular season?
Yep. That's how pretty much all mine are.
Where'd the season go? We wait, we put all this work in, and then it flies by. And then we're back to, rookie content and looking at the next draft and sulking about our teams that didn't make it and reveling in the teams that did. Goes by so fast, and it's crazy. First off, we already got a donation. So we want to get to that question. That is Stephen Drake's over on YouTube. It says, I need 2 for full PPR. Darnell Mooney, Zach Moss, Christian Kirk, and Kalen Balaj. He needs 2 of the 4. What 2 are you going with there, Mr. Bryce?
I am 100% putting Christian Kirk in. That's the easiest one for me. The second one, let me look for who I would put in the second one. But who would you use?
I'm putting in Darnell Mooney. He's getting he's getting 7-8 targets a game. Minnesota's terrible at covering wide receivers.
True.
The Bears' pass game's not good, but with that volume, we have a new play caller. It can't be worse than Matt Nagy. So I'm going with Darnell Mooney and also Christian Kirk. Arizona is more susceptible through the air. Moss and Singletary, they got to find the end zone to have any value that goes for either of them, just because they split that work there in Buffalo. And then I'm not trusting Kalen Balaj after one game in Chargers. This dude was historically bad last year. I think this is his 3rd team this season. Literally since the season started.
Yeah, there's that revenge game kind of with him, but it's not like he was ever a star in Miami.
I mean, I don't buy all the revenge games.
I don't either, but I can see other people doing it. But that's a tough defense to do a revenge game against. So I agree. I was just looking at that's what I had to look up was Mooney's targets. I don't watch the Bears much, so I like to look at the stats and the workload that they're getting, and what you said backs it up. So I agree with Mooney, and Christian Kirk is my easy one there.
Yeah, Christian Kirk's got that boom potential. And what is supposed to be one of the most exciting games of the week and highest scoring games of the week. So definitely those 2 for me. Evan Wheeler says, hey guys, love the content. I got a flex question. Are we starting Jefferson or John Brown? Already starting DK and Judy with Henry, Gibson, and Hooper over Andrews today. Streaming Packers and Kyler's my QB. So, DK, Judy, and Henry. Gibson and Hooper over Andrews. Jefferson or John Brown?
I'm going to go with, I liked how John Brown looked last week. But the Cardinals' defense gets overlooked a lot, and they're actually playing pretty well this year. So I'm gonna go with Justin Jefferson. I like his matchup a little bit better. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Justin Jefferson.
I'm going the other direction and going with John Brown. I think him back healthy, that offense, the shootout potential in this game. The Minnesota-Chicago game could be 18 to
Oh, that's right. Minnesota plays Chicago.
Chicago very tough against wide receivers. I'm going with John Brown in this matchup. Both of them have high ceilings. John Brown's floor over the last 2 seasons in Buffalo has been pretty high as well. So I'll take that floor ceiling combo.
I for some reason I was thinking Minnesota played Detroit a week behind or something like that. So I'm going to change my answer. I do want John Brown in that better.
Look at that. I'm converting Bryce on stream. If only he would have listened to me about Chase Edmonds last week.
True.
Who do I start at my flex? Kenyon Drake, Chase Edmonds, or Curtis Samuel? Mike Lupo asks this. First off, I like Curtis Samuel just off the bat. The way that they've been using him the past 3 weeks is phenomenal. And with CMC out again, they need to continue going to Curtis Samuel in that same way. And even with him back last week, they were still going that route. So, I'm going there. I guess if I need a floor, I'm going with either Kenyon Drake if he plays or Chase Edmonds if he doesn't. For the actual floor play. But I think we've seen this, right? And we've talked about it on Sunday mornings multiple times. The run game in Arizona has not worked this year. And it hasn't mattered if it was Kenyon Drake or Chase Edmonds. Arizona's offense has been too horizontal and consolidated. And Christian Kirk's helped a little bit here, stretching the field the last few weeks. But still, overall, a lot of these plays are so close to the line of scrimmage, there hasn't been much room for these running backs to run. So there's not a lot of floor with just the run game. Chase Edmonds does have that pass catching that he does a little bit more than Drake to help there, but neither of these running backs, that Arizona running game just isn't exciting so far this year like it was down the stretch last year with Kenyon Drake. So I have no problem going Curtis Samuel here, no matter what.
It's close for me because Curtis Samuel does have a tough matchup, and he does most of his work in the middle of the field, where that is where the Tampa Bay defense is at its best with their linebackers. I would easily say Chase Edmonds if Kenyon Drake wasn't playing. I just looked; he's expected to play. But if I do want any part of this game, it's supposed to be a shootout, and I want the better back out of the backfield. So to me, it's kind of 50-50. I barely lean Chase Edmonds, so you can't really go wrong on that one. But I'm gonna go Chase Edmonds by just a hair.
Oh, y'all got to start getting your questions in one line. I'm still going Curtis Samuel, but he also says or Emmanuel Sanders.
Okay, I'm still barely leaning Chase Edmonds.
C. Chav over on YouTube says Sterling Shepard or Brandon Ayuk in PPR. Also Wentz or Burrow. I'm going Shepard because he's getting like 8 to 10 targets since he came back and is healthy. I gotta look. Let me look at the weather in this game. I think that one was like moderate. Yeah, it's yellow. Which is like a moderate 15 to 20 mile per hour winds, but not really worried about that. So I'm going Wentz and Shepard in that game.
Yes, I agree. The Shepard and Ayuk are pretty close because Ayuk is getting a lot of work as well. But Cincinnati, Burrow might get sacked 8 to 10 times today, and the weather's not great. Where Carson Wentz always has that, rushing upside, and he's also playing the Giants. So I agree.
Yeah, so we're getting just to tie people in that on the weather, right? We have 3 games that are like getting blasted by wind. Houston and Cleveland, sustained winds at 25 miles per hour plus, stronger gusts that could be up to 50. Jacksonville, Green Bay looks the same as in Cleveland, except for they might have some snow to go along with it. So 25 miles per hour plus, sustained winds, and then Gus up to 50. And then Cincinnati-Pittsburgh, basically the same thing. Sustained winds from 20 to 30 miles per hour with gusts again around 50.
Yep.
Lots of wind in those games. If you have solid options, like I don't let these things dictate fully. If I have other options, then that are fairly equal, then I like moving off of those. But if I have like Burrow and Alex Smith, say, I'm still going Burrow.
Yeah.
Maybe the Detroit matchup this week for Alex Smith makes it a little easier to go Alex Smith, but yeah, just a heads up for those games. And then you got Philly and New York that are like 15 to 20 mile, 10 to 15 or 15 to 20 mile per hour winds, plus Tampa Bay, Carolina, 15 to 20 mile per hour winds. Those don't scare me near as much as these 25 to 30 mile per hour winds. So yeah, C-Chav, we're going with Shepard and Wentz. Just a reminder to everybody, we are going to answer the questions in order that they're in chat. Please don't ask them multiple times. We will get to them. Try to get your questions on the same line, because I read that line and then we go to answer it and then read that you have more information on the next one, and it could be trouble. Gio Bernard or Duke Johnson? We got Gio versus Pittsburgh. We got Duke Johnson versus Cleveland.
I'm going to go based on matchup. Usually I don't look into it too much, but Pittsburgh defense is just too good to ignore. I'm going to go with Duke Johnson.
I'm going to go Duke here also. And most of it is matchup, right? Like, we know that
On that one.
The problem is that if that Cleveland game, if they can't throw downfield because of that wind, which both games have this, but they're more apt to use Gio Bernard for short passes than I believe Houston. Like I said this last night, we still don't know if Duke Johnson is going to get all the carries. He has not been efficient this year. I've always said, give Duke the ball and let him go, but he has not been efficient this year. He is, I think, like all but 2 games have been under 2 yards per carry. And last week, they, weren't prepared for David Johnson not to be the guy. So, whoever they've got as that backup running back today could be way more involved in the rushing game.
Mm-hmm.
So it does make me a little bit nervous. Both of them can catch passes, though, and with those high winds, maybe they get utilized a little bit more with some design passes. So that's the hope. But Houston's team scores more than Cincy does no matter what. And with my running back, I want higher upside, so hopefully that pans out. Okay, somebody over on Facebook says, Jerick McKinnon or Juju Smith-Schuster?
This is getting asked because of all the reports of Jerick McKinnon getting a huge workload today, but I'm going to go with Juju Smith-Schuster.
I'm going with Juju as well. Especially since Deontay and I'm having a brain fart. Juju's Claypool. Juju's closer to the line of scrimmage, right? On a majority of his runs, so or passes, targets, all the stuff that you normally know on Sunday morning that I just don't seem to today. They're still gonna have to pass the ball at times, right? Even with the high winds. So Juju lines up as probably the one that is least affected in that passing game. Him and Deontay. So I'm not going to trust McKinnon. I'm not going to trust anything 49ers. And they have a tough defense that they're going up against too. I'll go Juju. I just feel safer with it. Gio Bernard or Robbie Anderson in the flex. This is for George Sorial over on YouTube.
Robbie Anderson.
I'm going Robbie Anderson too. People are going to look at the matchups and, be scared off of Robbie Anderson. The guy is one of the top, I think he's 4th in targets right now. I could be wrong, but he's up there. He's top 10, which I'm playing a top 10 target guy every week, regardless of matchup, because the amount of times these guys get an opportunity is what depends on fantasy points, and he could also pop a big one. So I'm less worried about their pass defense has been better than it has been, but I'm more worried about the run game versus them than anything else. Somebody else over on Facebook says 0.5 PPR, pick one: Dobbins, Singletary, or Phillip Lindsay. All of these guys have to split.
I'm going Dobbins. I like his matchup. The Patriots cannot stop the run. I know Mark Ingram is expected to come back today as well, but how much he gets to touch the ball is something I don't know. But I like J.K. Dobbins' matchup. I think they're going to try and get him rolling for the future.
Dobbins' talent is the best here. Overall talent. I'm going Lindsay in this spot. He is the best runner on his team. Las Vegas does not stop the run very well at all. So I'm going Lindsay, but I don't like it. That's a tough spot to be in with those 3 running backs because none of them are all 3 of them might be the guy that's a little bit lower on the end of touches on their own team. With whether you're talking Gus Edwards and Mark Ingram in Baltimore, Zach Moss in Buffalo, or Melvin Gordon in Denver, we're picking the less of 3 evils there. Pretty tough one to go with. I'm going with Lindsay, though, and he's going with Dobbins, so maybe somebody in the chat could go Singletary and just make it no easier for you. Aiden says choose 3 wide receivers: Antonio Brown, Mike Williams, Deontay Johnson, Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins, Adam Thielen.
Jeez. Adam Thielen, for sure.
Yes, despite the bad matchup, Adam Thielen gets too much love. We talk about them targets.
Absolutely.
Adam Thielen.
I gotta think of the rest we had. Deontay Johnson there
is in there for me. Because
absolutely.
Every game that he's healthy, he gets 10 targets. This week it might be 6 to 8, but still.
And then it comes down to A.B., Ayuk, who else?
A.B., Ayuk, Mike Williams, T. Higgins. And I'm probably going with T. Higgins.
Yes. I'm going with that's Burrow's guy.
Man, that's tough. It's T. Higgins and Antonio Brown for
T.
me.
Higgins.
I want to go T. Higgins, but in that matchup with the wind, I'm probably going to Antonio Brown. Thielen, Brown, Johnson for me.
Yeah. Brady's coming back today pissed off. They're going to try and score a lot and fast. I'm still going to stick with T. Higgins. I think Burrow throws the ball 60-plus times today.
That wind might ruin that.
Yeah.
That's the hard part with that one.
Yeah, it's windy. It's windy in the whole northern part of the United States today.
Here's the question. Who's on? Does Higgins draw the top tight end or top cornerbacks now?
That's a good question.
Or are they still on AJ Green? Obviously Boyd's in the slot, so he's gonna get the slot corner most games. But if Higgins is drawing number 1 coverage here, then I almost want no part of it. I'm going to Brown.
Who's their number 1 corner?
Johnson.
Isn't that their? Does the Steelers even have a good number 1 corner though? More of like their double. It's more of the safety help that.
Here's what I'll do.
Who's going to draw the safety help?
Let's move to the next question. I'm going to pull up my cornerback ratings for this week.
No, I'm just going to go to Antonio Brown. I don't want to deal with all the headache.
It looks like we're both going Thielen, Brown, Johnson at the moment. I'm going to look a little bit deeper on Higgins, but that wind and matchup just, I don't think there's a reason to go there when we have Antonio Brown who's going to get 6 targets no matter what. Fant or Goddard? Fendi over on YouTube asks.
I'm going Fant.
Goddard easily for me.
I bet.
I mean, I'm never betting on tight ends. Tight ends are.
We have to get another $5 bet.
There's
somewhere.
too much variance in tight ends every week. I'm never betting on a tight end. The closest I'll come to betting on a tight end is in DFS, and then I'm still like,
fair.
F these guys. Unless their name's Travis Kelce this year, they just aren't consistent.
Yeah, I have Goddard in my DraftKings lineup, but I think he was cheaper than Fant.
Clamp says pick 2 to start this week: Christian Kirk or J.D. McKissick. Christian Kirk and J.D.
Pick
McKissick.
If you're starting 1, Christian Kirk, but if you're
Yeah.
starting 2, yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough
Maybe that's
one.
what he meant 1.
Christian Kirk.
Christian.
Christian Kirk's the one. They'll be the both though. PPR need a safer floor at my flex. DJ Moore, Jalen Rager, or Dallas Goedert. Okay, so this is a question people ask. If it's not a tight end premium, the tight end's rarely ever the answer, right? Unless the wide receiver options are just terrible.
But they're not.
I still like DJ Moore
Yeah.
in this game, even though it's a tough defense. If we think Tampa Bay is going to score against Carolina, there should be targets there for DJ Moore. I'm going with DJ Moore here. The tight end is rarely ever going to be the answer when it comes with 2 wide receivers and a tight end, if they're legit options. People don't realize just how variant the tight end position is. Like, it's been bad this year, and guys you think are in a great matchup end up putting up 3 points, just like Dallas Goedert did in his return game 2 weeks ago. Did not put up points. Zach Ertz before. Literally, Kelce has been the only one that's been consistent this year. It's a tough position. Ray Fryer says Cleveland will be crazy today. That stadium is right on the water, and Lake Erie has potential gusts of 75 miles per hour. That's rough. Start 2 PPR League: DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, Allen Robinson, James Conner. I asked due to Bengals secondary being completely decimated, so wondering if this is a smash all Steelers players. It would be if it wasn't for this wind that we're getting. And you just heard the question before when Ray said that there could be gusts up to 75 miles per hour. Now, I suppose if you just happen to get that lined up right and you get to throw with the wind, you could have a really easy long touchdown, but I'm not betting on that. So I'm starting James Conner for sure, and then I would love to get Allen Robinson in there. We don't know if he's going to play, though, and you might not have an option Monday night. I probably just go with DJ Moore. If you do want to go with a piece of that game, Deontay Johnson, he still gets a lot of work close to the line of scrimmage. I wouldn't mind him either. I'd probably stay away from Claypool out of this question, though.
Yeah, I was looking at Allen Robinson as well because I've been keeping an eye on him. I would easily start him and Connor, but if you don't have Mooney, you could take that risk. Or if you don't have Mooney, you can't take that risk. So you got to go Deontay Johnson. But if you do, I wouldn't mind.
If you have Mooney or Miller, you can take that chance. But you have to have one of the 2 of those guys to leave Robinson in, and I would do that for sure. I would have Connor or Robinson in, and then back to, because both of those guys are getting 6 to 7 targets anyways right now with Robinson in. If he's out, there goes 10 more targets that get split probably amongst the 2 of those. So I would go there. Ronald Jones or DJ Dallas, Garage of Horror over on YouTube asks.
DJ Dallas.
I want to say DJ Dallas.
I'm gonna say it's Leonard Fournette's time to take over until it's the end of the season. I think
We saw it. We saw it the first time they played Carolina. Carolina's run defense is horrible. Ronald Jones and Fournette, I think, scored over 10 points in that game. I'm going Ronald Jones over DJ Dallas. I'm just not a DJ Dallas believer. I'm not a Rojo believer either, but I know he's going to get used. I know he's going to get carries.
He'll start the game.
So he'll fumble by the time third quarter finishes, and then
wasn't this the matchup though that he was supposed to take over and then he fumbled and Leonard Fournette had the big game?
Yeah, but I think he found the end zone and still got like 10 or 12 points.
Yeah, in the very
or something
first
like that.
It was the first.
I mean,
drive,
I don't love
yeah.
it, but right now, if it's not Russ in the pass game, I don't care about anything else for Seattle. Sean Dean says pick PPR, pick one. I can't read apparently or talk, one of the two. Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk, Mooney, or DJ Moore. Everybody wants to sit DJ Moore, and I get it. Last week was rough. I don't want to sit DJ Moore. So Moore's in here for me. He's the first guy in.
Yeah.
And then I'm probably going Justin Jefferson and Brandon Ayuk both have tough matchups, right? Because Ayuk's probably drawing number one coverage from New Orleans, and we've seen what happened to Mike Evans. So I'm probably going Jefferson here second.
Yep.
Mooney if
Moore is the
Robinson's
easy
out.
one for me. Yeah, but you might not be able to wait. So
Well, you can. You can
I'm
put
going
Jefferson in,
Yeah.
and then if Robinson's out, you can pivot to Mooney.
Oh yeah, they play each other. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Fastbender Werner says Drake or Joshua Kelly. This is easily Drake if he plays for me. It's not Joshua Kelly. He can't even beat out Kalen Balaj.
Yeah, Josh Kelly's like that guy they tried so hard to get involved, and he just is not good enough.
Sorry to our
Drake,
homie Brad. We're gonna pour one out for your homie Joshua Kelly. Can't even beat out Kalen Balaj. On a week, Kalen Balaj wasn't even supposed to get touches. That Justin Jackson injury killed me last week. Cost me a bunch of money. Michael Whitland says Moore, Ayuk, or Samuel PPR. DJ Moore.
DJ Moore? Yep, easy.
Jose Vega on Facebook says Juju or Will Fuller full PPR.
Will Fuller.
These are both in those win games. These are both guys that I trust. That's a tough one. You know what? Just because I think that this is a tough one.
Yeah, it's like the win game actually improves Juju's value.
It does a little bit, but you've also got Pittsburgh versus Cincy, where Cincy might not be able to score. The run game might be heavy in Pittsburgh this week, whereas, Houston, Cleveland could be more competitive. So, Fuller's shown this year that he's not just a deep ball receiver, right? He's a PPR receiver too. I agree. I'd probably go Fuller, but it's so close. It's splitting hairs. Houston. Let's look at this, because this would also be a determining factor, right? Let's see who's got the highest projection scores right now. Team totals. Houston is only at 20. Pittsburgh at 26. There's obviously more touchdowns upside on the Pittsburgh side. But that wind is crazy. That wind is crazy. I'm going Fuller. Remember, guys, we do ask the questions in order. Please only ask them one time. We will get to them, I promise. I know we're a little bit behind at the moment. Some of these came in 15 minutes ago that we're getting to, but we will get to all of them. Keep asking them. We do move donations to the top of the list if you choose to do that. But next question up is from Sean Dean, PPR, Joshua Jacobs versus Broncos or Antonio Gibson versus Lions. This is Joshua Jacobs for me every time. Broncos' run defense is tougher, but Gibson doesn't get all the work, and Josh Jacobs gets 90% of it with a little bit of Booker put in there a little bit. But George says, thank you. We'll visit against next week. We appreciate that. Jose Vega says, Gibson, Ronald Jones, or Gio Bernard, full PPR. Gio Bernard for me. I'll just get it out there.
It was either Gibson or Gio to me. I'm going to go with Gio. He might get 8 catches for 45 yards. And there's 12 points.
We know he's getting all the work in Cincy, right? Even though it's a bad matchup,
right.
But touches equal points. Raj over on YouTube says Swift, Edmonds, Mike Davis, Lindsey, and Drake at running back, Marvin Jones, Robbie Anderson, Mike Evans, Curtis Samuel, and Emmanuel Sanders at wide receiver. I need 2, 2, and 1 in full PPR. Thanks in advance. At running back, I'm going Mike Davis. And I'm going probably the Arizona running back, depending on who starts, who plays. If you wanted, Lindsey's out for me. I guess if you wanted, you could go Swift. If Drake and if Drake plays and you're not comfortable with Arizona run game, and then at wide receiver, I'm going Curtis Samuel and Mike Evans. I missed the first two. I'm going Robbie Anderson and Mike Evans.
Okay. Yes, Robbie Anderson and Mike Evans for sure. And I'm going Edmonds. And then who was the other running back that was a no-brainer?
Mike Davis.
Mike Davis.
Yep.
Mike Davis, yes. Yep. He said 2, 2, and 1, right?
Yeah. I can't get over your love for Edmonds. Okay, so
it's not that big this week.
Then we got to pick the flex play here, and I'm going with Curtis Samuel as my flex play out of that group.
Yep.
PPR pick 2, Duke Johnson, Leonard Fournette, Gio Bernard. I'm going with Gio Bernard and Duke Johnson just because no matter how many times and how obvious it is that Leonard Fournette is a clear talent over Rojo or Rojo or Ronald Poop Jones or whatever you want to call him, it hasn't come to fruition yet, and they just vulture each other, and I want nothing to do with it. Duke Johnson and Gio might be the guys to get 20 touches.
Yeah, I agree. This is the game, too, where Fournette's in a good situation to make us regret that, but I'm still going to go Duke Johnson and Gio. Now Duke Johnson would be a little bit harder for me, but the running back that came in and took all the carriers, I think it was Troymaine Pope, he's hurt. So I don't know if he's even playing. So if I see that he's playing, I believe he got 12-plus touches last week with David Johnson getting hurt. If he's playing, I wouldn't feel bad about putting Fournette in. But after reading that information, I like Duke Johnson if he's the only running back that's healthy.
Clutchful says, pick 2 to start. Robert Woods, Adam Thielen, Brandon Ayuk, Antonio Brown, Mike Williams. We're starting 2. Robert Woods is auto in against Seattle. Seattle has already given up more yards this year than 2 teams gave up all of last year. Their pass defense is horrendous. Robert Woods is locked and loaded. And then I'm going with Adam Thielen, even in the matchup for Chicago. He just gets too much work to ignore. Woods and Thielen for me.
Yep, Woods and Thielen.
Aiden says flex. Jerry Jeudy, Mike Davis, Jerick McKinnon, T. Higgins, Deontay Johnson, Allen Robinson. This is a different team, by the way. Allen Robinson would be my guy here, but we don't know. Monday night. And none of these other options play Monday night. Mike Davis is the play for me. There's just the floor and upside here. It is a bad matchup, but he catches the ball enough to kind of negate the need for rushing yards.
Mm-hmm.
Higgins, Johnson, all in windy games. I'll never trust Jerick McKinnon no matter what anybody tells me. And then Jerry Jeudy would be my other option. We've only seen the one big game, but he's had a pretty solid floor. So that would be where I'm at on that. If we get news in the next hour that Allen Robinson's looking like clutch to go, then I just put him in.
Yeah, these are a lot of talented dudes. I'd be pulling my hair out if I had this problem every week. But I agree with you. It's Mike Davis. I would 100% prefer Allen Robinson, but with his status up in the air, Mike Davis.
Cam says, start 1 PPR, Antonio Brown or Phillip Lindsay, or Justin Jefferson is flex. I'm going with Antonio Brown here.
Maybe. Him getting active made our questions a lot harder.
Pick 3 to start. Robert Woods, Adam Thielen, Brandon Ayuk, Antonio Brown, Mike Williams. Did we already do this? This seems familiar.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Clutchful is off the question anytime I see Clutchful because he asked it like 9 times. Ask one time. We will get to it. We're not going to bump you up to the top just because you ask it multiple times. Please, please, please. One time we will get there. We're going to have to get moderators for the chat for this show. Herbert, Brady, or Big Ben? This is coming from Facebook. Who are you going with?
I'm going with Brady.
Going with Brady.
Yeah, he's gonna be this. He always comes back after a bad game and lights it up. He's gonna be very upset.
I'm probably going with Brady too. I love Herbert, but people do forget or don't even realize how good Miami's pass defense is. I'm probably I'm going Herbert anyway. I don't care about Brady and being pissed off and. You beat Carolina on the ground. Not that he can't.
They might get to the 1 yard line and throw 5 1-yard touchdowns to Mike Evans today.
I mean, they might, but I'm going Herbert.
I'm with Brady.
Let's see. Tight end. Okay. Waller or Hunter Henry? The answer is Waller for me. That is for our boy.
Waller.
That is for our boy Craig. It is Waller fairly easily for me. He just gets too many targets. Blue Crew says, after thinking about it all week, I'm going with Thielen over Godwin. I'm already starting Kupp and T. Higgins. Your thoughts? I'm putting Thielen in over Higgins. Higgins is the guy out here for me. Thielen, Godwin, and Kupp are my starters. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say the same thing. I like Higgins for the future. He's definitely a bright spot, but this game today, bad matchup and bad weather.
People like nobody understands ever what Paul's talking about in the chat.
Shocker.
Or like, what are you talking about? let's see. Pick one to start this week. Wentz, Breeze, Watson. Weather is terrible in Cleveland. Newton or Carr? I'm going Newton. I don't love it, but he's still putting up fantasy points even if he's not playing well.
I think I'm going to go with Wentz this week. For some reason, I just think this is a big week for him. He's got a good matchup. It's a division game and a sadly tight division. So I think he's going to be on his A game. I think he's got his wide receiver. I think this might be the first time that for 2 weeks in a row he's got a healthy core with the rookie Goddard and Fulgham kind of coming into his own. I like Wentz this week. I do like Cam. He might not be performing the best for the team, but fantasy wise, he's doing well. But he's also doesn't have the best matchup against a team that's pretty good at stopping the run. And if I had to rely on him just throwing the ball, I don't really want him in my lineup, even though he is in a few.
Yeah, we've got that moderate concern with Philly and New York. Plus, we have Miles Sanders back for the Eagles as well.
Right.
So that game, like, it's supposed to start, with 10 to 15 mile an hour winds, which wouldn't concern me. But then, moving on, they go up 15, 20 miles per hour and rain. Because I agree, like, Wentz is underrated. And everybody thinks Wentz is bad, but that dude is just unfortunate. I would monitor this one right up to game time, and if this is all that we think we get, then I probably do go with Wentz. This just in, wind direction over stadium orientation. Green Bay, the biggest crosswind of the three big wind games, though I would expect swirling winds in all stadiums. See, that's what people forget about with that wind and it getting in the stadium. It's not just that it's heavy, but it swirls in there. Yeah, so I agree, and especially if you're that, like, I mean, Newton, I've said it, like, is not a good passer, but man, he still puts up fantasy points. That rushing upside is big. But Wentz is also averaging over 20 points per game. My only concern would be weather in that game. Good morning once again from Asan, South Korea. Welcome to the stream, Crescent Cannon. It is so awesome. I love that. That for me is like greater than anything, right? Like literally, people all over the world tuning in. That is awesome. Hopkins let me down last week, but hoping he bounces back. Need a choice for wide receiver 2. And my flex. Do I go with Shark, Judy, Boyd, or Kirk?
Kirk.
I want to go Shark. I want Shark with Chenault out, but this wind, right? We just talked about it. Like that wind is crazy in Green Bay, and it's probably a James Robinson week, right?
Right.
I'm going with Boyd first off because he probably has the best matchup out of the wide receivers in that game. That's got wind too, but at least he's closer to line of scrimmage. And then like Judy for floor, Kirk for ceiling is where I would go with the flex.
Yeah, that's fair.
So if you feel like you need a big play, then Kirk. And if you're worried about the weather in the Cincy game, I mean, Judy's got a decent floor, so I don't mind playing him.
Right.
But Boyd's Boyd's going to be more consistent than Judy. Weather's the only concern there for me. Rank these options in 0.5 PPR. Shark, Fuller, Claypool, Boyd, Antonio Brown, Gio. These are all the bad weather guys, right? Shark, Fuller, yeah, all the bad weather guys.
Except AB, right?
Yeah.
Except Antonio.
So
Or
I
is
think
Antonio?
I go
Oh,
with
wait.
Gio 1 because of touches with mixing out, and then Antonio Brown. Boyd, see, it's the same freaking issue. Boyd is at least closer to the line of scrimmage. Um, I don't know that it hurts him as much. It might actually benefit Boyd. Um, but then you're also relying on two Bengals. Oh man, this win makes it tough, right? I don't know how it affects a Joe Burrow fastball. You know what I mean? Like that's something
It might cut right through it.
that's something I don't know. I don't know how that's going to affect him or Aaron Rodgers. Now, when it gets deeper and you get more air under it, then you know
it
it's
doesn't matter who it is.
it's pretty easy to know. But Boyd, 8 yards off the line of scrimmage might be fine, while Fuller, 15 yards, 20 yards downfield might be shot. You know, I just don't know. But Gio, I'm putting in, right? Because we know he's going to get touches. The wind's not going to affect him nearly as much as anybody else. We don't love the matchup, but he catches passes, and short passes might be the way to go this week. So I go there, and then it's going to be Brown or Boyd for me, just because we know they're going to get targets. And if you got Angry Tom that comes back and throws for 9,000 yards this game, then Antonio Brown's going to get some of it. Yeah, Gio, Brown, Boyd, Fuller, Shark, Claypool for me.
It sounds weird that we're putting probably the least talented guy at the very top, but that's what volume does.
Touches equal points.
That's true.
Did you have any? Would you order that in any different way?
No. If you were going to put Boyd in front of Brown, I was going to argue that, but I like Brown as the number 2 here with Gio as number 1.
Isn't it amazing that Antonio Brown didn't play for like 400 days and then comes and gets like 6 targets in his first game? The dude's a freak.
Kinda, yeah.
He's a freak. Like he's a psycho freak.
He's an
and
athlete,
then he's
yeah.
a freak. Then he's a freak athlete. Darrell Niv says start 2 PPR. Godwin, Fuller, Fournette, Claypool. I'm going with Godwin off the bat. And then you want me to say Fournette, don't you?
No, I'm saying Fuller here. I liked Fournette this week, but
I'm going Fuller here. Yep, Godwin, Fuller. Is Wayne Fallman a good start over Fournette or Rojo? Wayne Gallman. I was like, Wayne Fallman.
Yeah.
Fallman. Yeah, Wayne Fallman. I like that. I don't know. I probably start Ronald Jones.
I think I start Fournette. I wouldn't mind starting Wayne Gallman over both of them, but he's going against like one of the best front sevens this week. I believe they're playing the Washington Redskins,
Philly.
Washington football team. So, yeah. Wait. Oh, Giants play
And
Philly?
they're second against the run. Like they're good against the run.
Yeah, they're
I'm going Ronald
whatever,
Jones.
so.
I can't I love Fournette. I know he's a better talent than Ronald Jones, but the touches aren't warranting that choice of Fournette over him. So I'm going with Ronald Jones here. I don't love it. Every time I side with Ronald Jones, it backfires. So he'll probably have a shitty week. But I mean, he's
I'm going
he's
Fournette.
getting the touches. You can't go Fournette over him yet. I don't think. Morning, Rob Sullivan. He says thoughts on Alshon Jeffrey today.
No,
I don't have any thoughts on Alshon Jeffrey.
Not
I have
really.
thoughts on Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon
think
Jeffrey is going to come in and get 6 to 8 targets, and he would have, but we have wind, right? Like we can't get away from freaking wind.
So who does he cut in? Whose work does he cut into? Fulgham, you think?
Probably Fulgham.
I don't know. I at this point, why Alshon Jeffrey's getting old, and that team is in no. I mean, I guess it'd be different if I guess there was one team in that division that was far ahead, but I guess they're all still in.
It's not like they're rebuilding, right?
Right. They're not in playoff contention, but you still want to. I feel like you'd want to get your youngest talents that are ideally going to stay healthy. Just keep getting them work, like Fulgham. Hopefully, Rieger can stay healthy and just get them rocking and rolling. But if they just Jeffrey like he used to, I don't know. I don't.
Jeffrey has had problems staying healthy. Jeffrey has not been a bad player on the field when.
Oh no, not at all.
When healthy. So that's what people forget. And yes, Fulgham's exciting. He came out of nowhere, blah, blah, blah. But it's still just Rager, Fulgham, and Jeffrey, right? They can all get 6 to 8 targets. They don't have to necessarily take away from each other. Greg Ward was getting targets, right? And we know Greg Ward, when you talk about those 4, is not in the same talent category as those 4, even with an aging Alshon Jeffrey. But we could see 6 to 8 targets for Goddard, Jeffrey, Fulgham, Rager, and all of them be productive wide receiver 2s to 3s on a week in, week out basis with this offense. And finally, Wentz has an actual healthy wide receiver core to throw to. So I'm not like Alshon's going to come back and be a wide receiver 1. I think he can have flex appeal in your weekly lineups and potentially maybe some wide receiver 2 weeks, probably more in the wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 category on most weeks. But I mean, definitely a fine play. I think there's a floor there. Not a super high ceiling anymore though. It may actually help the other guys out a little bit more, right? Because you do have to pay attention to Alshon Jeffrey. We've seen it in Cincy, right? This kind of reminds me of the A.J. Green thing with Higgins and Boyd and even Auden Tate, who had a pretty decent year last year with Green out. We kind of saw Green come back in, and even though he wasn't productive early in the year, teams were still paying attention to him because he's A.J. Green. Alshon Jeffrey's not as good as A.J. Green, hasn't had the career that A.J. Green has. But he still commands some attention, and I think that does kind of help everybody else out. But with this win, I'm trying to stay away from that game anyway, unless it's Miles Sanders or somebody I'm just super comfortable with. And that goes for all the win games, right? Like Devontae Adams, you're not sitting him because of the win concerns in Green Bay, right? These are the fringe guys that we're talking about. That would be affected, or when you have multiples that are good players, like we've seen the guy with Deontay Johnson and Fuller and Shark and all those guys that just happen to be in those games, then it becomes a little more difficult. But if we're talking Alshon in a win game, let's not touch that. Let's just get away from that and then go elsewhere. Henderson or Gordon? This is from Michael Shane. Who are you going with?
Gordon.
Listen, if McVay goes in, if he doesn't do exactly what the Bills did, I think the Bills pass to run ratio to start that game against Seattle was 20-2 passing, because Seattle's that bad against the pass. Henderson should not get very many touches this game. It should just be a pass heavy onslaught. I'm going with Gordon as well. And it's funny because guess what Paul said? Henderson by default. Why is it Henderson by default? That is not a good answer.
I don't know that would ever be an answer.
I mean, we still don't even know the running back, from a week-to-week basis. Brown could be the guy this week in there, so I don't know how it's...
Right.
Obviously, Gordon has Lindsey, but Gordon catches. Gordon gets 6 to 8 targets a game as a running back. That's points. That's floor right there, at least.
Right.
Blue Crew says, even with Ross, you still count T. Higgins out? Even with John Ross, you still count T. Higgins out? Even with Ross out. Ross has been out the whole year. The matchups.
Isn't he a healthy scratch?
I mean, John Ross has barely played. He wanted traded.
Right.
So John Ross is a non-factor for me, basically. I love T. Higgins, but we're talking about a bad matchup with bad wind. That hurts.
Right.
That hurts. Hurts all the receivers in those games, and you had other good options, Blue Crew. Yeah, Michael Chang says Wentz had 29 fantasy points last time versus Giants. Probably had one healthy receiver that game too. Jimmy Graham or Jared Cook. I'm going with Jimmy Graham here.
Yep.
Jimmy Graham's had some of the best red zone usage in the league all year. Bears have a new play caller. Hallelujah. Happy about that. Whether you like Bill Lazor or not, Matt Nagy is not the answer, and that's for sure. So I'm going Jimmy Graham there.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham always sees at least 5 targets.
Oh, yeah,
I have no problem starting
like 6 to 8 most games, which for a tight end is superb.
Oh, yeah.
There's not a bunch of touchdown upside because Chicago doesn't score that much, but maybe some new play calling will do the trick. Who knows? John Ross has been a non-factor all year. So somebody was answering that. Pick one defense this week: Minnesota, Cleveland, New York, Miami, or Rams.
It's almost like I want to go Cleveland because of the weather.
Yeah, but then they don't throw enough, right? And that's how you get points for your defense, is by throwing, because you get them by sacks and turnovers, which mostly come on those.
I'm going Miami.
I like Miami. There. Rams are sneaky, but, I mean, Russ can beat up on anybody, so.
Yeah, he's good at not getting sacks, too. So.
Yep. Blue Crew says that, Michael, but it opens more targets for him. But Ross hasn't played at all this year, so Ross hasn't taken targets from Higgins at all.
Yeah, Ross will not be on that team next year.
Okay, so I think we already answered. Yeah, we answered Henderson or Gordon. Remember, guys, one time. I am going to add a moderator next year, probably. And anybody that asks duplicate questions, we'll just delete all of them, and they won't get answered. Caleb says, should I start Carr or Locke over Watson because the weather is awful today for Watson, or stick with Watson? Quarterback is flat enough for me on a week-to-week basis that I have no problems sitting one of those guys if they're in this. We saw what it did, right, to games last week. My problem here is Carr's also in a bad matchup, and Locke is one of the guys that I'm not comfortable with. So I probably just stick with Watson.
I'm sticking with him as well. I like Drew Lock. I think he's very talented. Just think he needs a little bit more development, a little bit more time with the young receiving core. I definitely like his outlook for next year.
I misspoke, and that's what I was double checking over here. Carr's game is fine weather-wise. We don't have any.
Who's he playing again?
Carr has Denver, so it's Locke and Carr versus each other, and Denver's run defense is better than their pass defense, and Carr's been putting up like 20 points a week. I'd probably start Carr here. I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be upset if you kept Watson. Like, I wouldn't tell you were stupid. But there's probably more upside with Carr just because of that wind and weather. So I go Carr myself.
I think I'm gonna still stick with Watson. But I can't blame you for going either way.
Rob Kane says, "What's up, Antonio Brown or Jalen Reagor, full PPR?"
AB.
They both have like similar weather here. Tampa Bay, Carolina, sustained winds 15 to 20. Philly, New York, 15 to 20 late, starting less. I'm probably going Rager here. Big play upside. Doesn't like both these teams have some weapons, right? But I think Tampa Bay, you've got Gronk, you've got Godwin, Evans, some Scotty Miller. We've talked about 2 running backs. There's a lot to go around. So the upside is capped there a little bit. I think Rager gets the 6 targets, probably somewhere in the realm that Brown will. I like Rager here, but I am also a Rager truther, to be completely honest. Like,
You do have his jersey.
I do have a Rager jersey, so maybe a little bit biased there. Trey Tillman says, "Hey fellas, 2 running back, 2 wide receivers: Sanders, Connor, Swift, McKissick, Drake, Woods, McLaurin, Fuller, Shark. There's 3 guys right off the bat that are in: Sanders, Connor, Woods. Those 3 are automatically in for me. And then I probably go McLaurin as the next one. That game, no weather, right? We don't have weather concerns there. So, yeah, I'm going Sanders, Connor, Woods, McLaurin. And I think you are on board with that.
I agree. Yep, that was a pretty easy one.
1.5 point PPR, tight end premium, Evan Ingram or Antonio Brown. I'm going to Evan Ingram. I think he's had 10 targets 3 straight games.
I agree. Yeah, usually we don't do the tight end over the wide receiver, but this tight end is going to see more volume and he gets more points per reception.
Yeah. Tight end premium definitely plays a factor there. Probably still not as much upside because they're not finding the end zone, but this game is kind of a sneaky one for me to kind of shoot out.
Right.
And because New York doesn't run the ball a lot anyway, right? They don't have very much success with that, so they have to pass and do some stuff to get there. So it's not like Philly's stopping something in the run game that they rely on heavily with Barkley out, right? So,
right.
I think there could be some points scored here. A-Rob or Boyd, and the answer is, unless we find something out about A-Rob being like 90% to go, it's got to be Boyd for now because you can't wait till Monday night, Connor. Yep. PPR, Justin Jefferson or Gio Bernard. I'm playing Boyd too. I'm going Bernard because of the touches, like we talked.
Yep.
Need a running back. Don't like Singletary at all. I have DJ Dallas on bench and can still pick up Pope, Homer, or Nall. This would come down to DJ Dallas or Ryan Nall for me. Because as of now, I don't know who else in Chicago is going to get the carries and touches and everything. Obviously, we're going to get some Cordarrelle Patterson. But Nall could just be in for a big workload with Montgomery out. But they don't have a lot of success running the ball no matter who it is. But Nall caught 4 passes in like a quarter last week. Less than a quarter last week.
Did he score too?
Do what?
Did he score?
Did the Bears score? I don't know.
They had somebody score. Maybe who's the other? Number 40 something. I don't remember. I was like, who is this guy?
I was so pissed off at that point. I don't even remember. I blacked out. Probably DJ Dallas, just because that game's got the huge team total over. DJ Dallas probably a guy for me, Adam.
Yep. I'm on DJ Dallas today.
Why is John Ross everybody's talked about John Ross? John Ross has been nothing all year. I don't get. I feel like I'm missing something. He was placed on IR, but
Did they say something about
He
him?
hasn't been. Well, somebody was asking like if John Ross being out helps Higgins, but John Ross has basically been out all year.
Yeah, did he play on the field?
Yeah, I don't know. And then so he said he was placed on IR. Like I know, but he's basically been on IR all year. Has he even been? Does he even have 5 targets yet this year?
I think he had one good game.
He did. I missed it.
I thought he did.
I missed
Maybe
it.
I'm thinking of last year.
Showtime Mahomes said, "Who should I start, Derek Carr or Joe Burrow?" I'm going Derek Carr this week.
Yeah.
The win factor.
Oh, no.
For sure.
I was wrong. He has not had a good game. I was very
How many
wrong.
targets does he have?
He has 7 on the year.
Oh, he beat my 5. That's a good over.
5 week 1, 2 week 2.
Justin Jefferson or Antonio Brown. We have answered this, but it was a different person. So we're fine. I'm going Antonio Brown this week.
Yep.
Stephon Diggs or Antonio Brown. Veronica, do not sit Stephon Diggs at all ever. He's
a beast.
Unless you're talking Devontae Adams or Stephon Diggs, which you're going to start them both, or Nuke Hopkins and Stephon Diggs, or Julio Jones, or DK Metcalf. Those are probably the only 4 guys right now that you can put in the same category as Stephon Diggs. This dude has been a pure alpha since moving from Minnesota to Buffalo, and it's made perfect sense, right? Why was Diggs so pissed he wasn't getting targeted in Minnesota? Because this son of a bitch is good. And he wanted to show people that he's good. Stephon Diggs is a beast. He is going to be the answer 99.9% of the time.
I think he's going to be on a lot of championship teams in redraft leagues because he fell so far and is performing at high caliber wide receiver 1.
Michael, apologize. No problem. I'll give you guys shit. But it does make it a lot harder on us. We do go from first question down. We
right.
will if we miss one, you can point that out, no problem. But we definitely, try to keep the chat as clean as possible so we don't miss any, and we can get to them as fast as possible. Trey, did we skip yours? Trey. Maybe we did. I did, and I apologize. I think we did miss this one. Sorry, Trey. I apologize. See, mistakes do happen. But when you say skipped in the chat, then I know to go back and look. He said 1 question this week. Full PPR, choose 2. Swift, Fournette, Landry, Judy, DJ Moore, Melvin Gordon, or Marvin Jones. Holy shit, you have a lot of good players on your team.
So just pick 2 overall?
Full PPR, choose 2.
Swift, Fournette, who else?
Landry, Judy, DJ Moore, Melvin Gordon, Marvin Jones.
Landry and Judy.
See, I wanted all the Landry this week. But this is 2 weeks in a row that they get the win game, and we've seen how that affected them in the win game last week. I'm going Judy. I'm going DJ Moore and Jerry Judy. Marvin Jones.
I'm sorry, I did not see DJ. I didn't see DJ Moore.
Marvin Jones is in there as a potential play too. But I'm going Judy, DJ Moore. And I apologize.
I'm going to go DJ Moore and Landry.
Take a guess. Moore, Chark, or Mooney at flex? Moore.
0.5
PPR. Mike Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Adam Thielen, Chark, Godwin. Bench 1. If I'm benching 1 out of this group, it is going to be probably Chark in the win game.
Yep. Bad matchup and win.
The matchup this week was better, right? Zaire Alexander's out for Green Bay.
That's right.
But
Yep,
then,
you're right.
But then we get freaking 50-mile-per-hour gusts, and that's a good defender. You know, I wanted to play a lot of Shark this week. Chenault's out. That just funnels more to Shark. Chris Conley's probably actually a pretty solid DFS play because he's going to be closer to line of scrimmage on a lot of plays. But I mean, I'm sitting Shark just because of weather there. Normally, I would sit Ayuk, and Ayuk you could still make a case for Ayuk being the one that gets sat. But I'm going to go with Shark in that weather game. And remember, this is Lutton that we've got at quarterback, too. So it's not like we have premier quarterback play to work through that wind. Good morning. I need to start 2. Hunt, Chubb, Edmonds. I probably just go Chubb and Hunt. Wind game. Better athletes, better running backs, period. I'm going Hunt and Chubb.
Yep, I like Edmonds, but can't start him over those two.
Dallas Goedert or Mark Andrews? Appreciate it, guys. I'm Dallas Goedert everything right now. Dallas Goedert, literally the only tight end I would start over Dallas Goedert right now is Travis Kelce.
Oh, 100%. I would start others above him, but I like him over. I think Mark Andrews is just. I would like him if he had a better quarterback that is more of a pocket passer. He's just so boomer bust where I think Goddard's going to see.
Once again,
going to start seeing a floor.
Once again, I do want to make it clear: all tight ends are boom or bust.
Right.
We don't have we have one consistent.
Points, 2 points.
But yeah, I just think that I literally think Dallas Goedert is a top 3 talent at the position with Kittle and Kelce being ahead of him, and then he's right with anybody else that would be in consideration for number 3. And with Ertz out and Goddard hopefully back full healthy, I just think he could be a monster. I forgot to ask, who would you add at the one flex? So it's 2 running back, 2 wide receivers. Sanders, Connor, Swift, McKissick, Drake, Woods, McLaurin, Fuller, Chark. And I think we answered this one, Trey.
No, we answered 2 wide receivers and 2 running backs. We didn't answer a flex.
Oh, we didn't answer the flex. Okay, so we went Sanders, Connor, Woods, McLaurin, and then after that, like, I probably go Swift. With the weather games going on, I don't love it, but
I'm still gonna go Fuller. I know the wind's gonna be a factor, but I don't know if it'll be enough to devalue him below Swift.
I don't know. 50-mile-per-hour gusts, pretty healthy.
Maybe I'll get air under Deshaun Watson's deep ball for Fuller.
Yeah, the ball will just be like going like. I'm interested. I'm gonna have to turn on one of these games and watch.
Oh, I'll have one of them on. I'll have the Green Bay game on for sure.
Pick 2.
Watching that.
Woods, McLaurin, Allen Robinson, Lockett, PPR. Lockett.
Jeez.
Holy shit! How do you have this many good wide
People,
receivers?
how do you get these?
Robinson's out.
Why not trading?
Robinson's out because we don't even know if he's going to play, and he's Monday night, so there's no reason to risk it when you have monsters like this. I'm going Lockett, and I'm going Woods.
I agree.
Lockett and Woods. Showtime Mahomes says, thanks for the help. I have one more. Juju or Christian Kirk, full PPR. I'm going.
I think it's a floor ceiling question again. I think you can argue.
I'm trying not to let the wind rule my life, right? But Kirk's playing well right now in one of the games that's supposed to be the highest over-unders. We've got Cincy and Pittsburgh with 50-mile-per-hour gusts. What's the over-under in that game? Like, what do we got for a team total for Pittsburgh, right? So We're talking Arizona with a 29 team total, which is great. We love that. Pittsburgh 26.5. I mean, I'd probably lean Christian Kirk a little bit here. I don't like it, but it's not like Juju is the clear number one that everybody wanted him to be, right? Like, he's got other guys on his team that are getting targeted as much as he is. Yeah, I think I go Christian Kirk here.
I like Christian Kirk this week. I think he's really stepping into that number 2 role. I like Juju as well, but I'm going to go Christian Kirk. But if you're really looking for a floor, just a solid floor, I could definitely see you starting Juju to make sure you get 8 to 10 points on minimum, because Christian Kirk could bust.
Yeah, he could, but yeah, I don't know. I'm trying not to let the wind rule my life, but these games, we saw what it did last week, right?
Right.
Mean, those games, we were like, are they ever going to throw the ball again? And maybe that's scaring me off. I'll be 100% honest, but I just don't see why take that shot when you've got another viable option. If we were talking a French player in that, instead, then it'd be different. Like, if you're like, do I play Isaiah Ford or something like that? No, right? We're going with the good players there, but Christian Kirk's been a good player. Herbert or Tom Brady? Hoping Brady pop off hot this week after getting destroyed. I know you're going Tom Brady.
$5 on it?
I probably go Tom Brady. I think I went.
You said Herbert earlier.
I know. I keep going back and forth.
Yeah.
It's like if you're in a 1 quarterback league, trade Herbert. You can get so much for him right now. Like, you don't have to have him over Tom Brady. I would trade him, so you don't have this question, because you're gonna have it every week. And you're going to come here and you're going to ask us.
If it's Dynasty, I'd probably keep him. Because I don't know.
If it's Dynasty, I'm keeping Herbert, no doubt.
Right.
But in a redraft, you don't have to have him for what you could get in other positions, right? It's so back. I'm so back and forth here, because quarterback's flat, right? Unless you're Patrick Mahomes, Russ Wilson, Kyler Murray, everything else is pretty flat. They're interchangeable. Herbert has played great, but it's not like he rushes for so many yards that he's so far ahead of Tom Brady in that category. Tom Brady can throw 4 touchdowns on any given week. So it's just a headache that in a redraft you don't need. And I would definitely trade Herbert, because his value is going to bring more back. But I probably start. I can't decide who to start. I'll just be honest with you. I would be going back and forth till game time, and then I'd click submit at 12:59 before the game starts, and just pray that whichever one I picked was the highest scoring. It's a good problem to have.
Right.
Darsan Patel says Ayuk or Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson.
I'm going Jefferson as well. Ayuk he's probably drawn Lattimore, like we talked about. Bears' pass defense is good, but Lattimore's been pretty good too. John Brown, DJ Moore, or Sterling Shepard half PPR. This is for Home Slice over on YouTube.
DJ Moore.
Yeah,
it's hard.
I'm still going DJ Moore. Controversial says PPR pick 3. Mike Thomas, yes. Will Fuller, Antonio Brown, John Brown, Jarvis Landry. Mike Thomas, John Brown, Antonio Brown.
Yep.
Fuller and Landry in that win game. They're in the same game. 25 miles plus on the sustained winds. 50 miles per hour.
And he said the 75 on the...
Yeah.
Yeah. He said 75 on Lake Erie or whatever. So
Mike Thomas is in. No matter. I mean, I'm assuming we're talking Mike Thomas Saints, not Mike Thomas Cincinnati. for one. So as long as that's the Saints, Michael Thomas, he's in, right? Don't be scared about the two games that he's actually played this year. This dude is Michael Thomas. We're playing him. And then Antonio Brown, John Brown, they're gonna get targets, and they don't have that crazy wind game. Tampa Bay, Carolina does have some 15 to 20 miles per hour, but they're decreasing as the game goes on, and that's not nearly what 50 mile per hour gusts will do to you.
Correct.
Pick 2, Allen Robinson, Gio Bernard, Jerick McKinnon, Kenyon Drake. Bernard is in, and then we're probably got to go with McKinnon plays at 1, right? So you probably got to go McKinnon by the off chance that Drake doesn't make it through pregame warm-ups and ends up sitting out.
Yep.
Right? San Francisco's at 1. Am I looking at this right?
Yeah.
No, they're at 425. So Arizona actually starts before San Francisco. So I would hold out. If Drake plays, I would play Drake. And then if Drake sits, I would play McKinnon. Allen Robinson, unfortunately, who I would want to have in there, unless we get news before the 1 o'clock lock, or I guess before 4 o'clock lock, right? You can put in Bernard. And then if we hear more by 4 o'clock that Allen Robinson's likely to play, you can take that risk, especially if you have another option. If you have Mooney or Miller, like we talked about, that you can throw in there. Or even if you have somebody, I'm sure you're starting Jefferson or you're starting Thielen. If you're not starting Thielen, you're playing wrong. Allen Robinson, you just can't take the risk without having an option to throw in there tomorrow night. Triple invincible PPR, yeah. Did you agree with all that? Did you say what you thought?
I don't know. With Drake being like probably not 100%, even if he is playing, and the reports of McKinnon, I would almost be more inclined to start McKinnon, even if Drake is healthy, just because I think it gets split 50-50 at that point. And then if that game does become a shootout and they want a better pass catching back end, Edmonds might be on the field more. Might not get as many touches, but he probably might be on the field more. So I think I'm going to go Jerick McKinnon.
That is the biggest mistake in fantasy. Most of the time, unless they come back like the Fournette game, right, when all the Tampa Bay running backs were hurt, and they literally said Fournette is literally an emergency running back. Unless they say that, we see it time and time again. They don't mix in, right? Last week, CMC was supposed to trade series with Mike Davis. When they bring guys back, they don't bring them back unless they're healthy 95% of the time, and we hear that they're going to be split if that's the case. If Drake plays, I'm not worried about Edmonds. I know you're an Edmonds fan. I told you last week you were crazy. You'd be crazy again this week. But McKinnon, we don't know. We never know what's going to happen in San Francisco. We know Drake's going to get the carries if he's healthy in Arizona, and that's the only benefit there. This would be really easy if we knew Allen Robinson was playing, right? Because then we don't go with McKinnon or Drake. We just go with Robinson and Bernard and be done with it.
Yep.
But that's the thing that makes this tough. So hopefully we get a little word that, hey, A-Rob's going to be in, and then we just go there. Triple invincible. Home slice is Swift, Fournette, Mike Davis. Pick 2, half PPR. I'm going Mike Davis and DeAndre Swift just because I don't know what Tampa Bay's doing at running back. I've said that a few times. I know you're probably going with Mike Davis and Fournette.
I am.
PPR, Jordan Reed or Kyle Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph is interesting if Irv Smith ends up not playing. Last I knew it, I think he was questionable. But Jordan Reed, probably no matter what. Bears are not good against tight ends, though. But if it's Irv Smith and Kyle Rudolph playing, then it limits upside.
Irv Smith Jr. is out.
He is out? That
He's
makes it a
out.
lot closer. I think the Saints are really bad against tight ends too. So we're gonna look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saints are like the
I think I'm gonna go
sixth or
George.
seventh worst. So you got that. The Bears are like the seventh or eighth worst. They're 2 behind New Orleans. They give up about the same every game. They're both bad against tight ends. So here's my question, right? Irv Smith started slow. What kind of targets has Irv Smith been getting? So Smith. Oh, he's not even on this slate, so I can't look in that spot.
He has gotten not a lot. He's gotten 5. He's gotten 4, 4, 5, 5.
4, 4, 5, 5. So that's the last 4 games. 4, 4, 5, 5.
Oh no, sorry. I was just counting all
Last
of
4
them.
games.
The past 5 games, he's gotten. Past 4 games, he's gotten around. He's probably averaging a little bit less than 4 targets a game. Oh, 5, 5, 1, 4.
5, 5, 1, 4. He's had 4 or more in 3 of the games, right? Okay,
Yeah,
that's pretty good for a tight end, especially in this year's landscape. So Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph stats. See, this is the type of stuff that you got to work through when you're looking at these kind of things, right? What are these guys getting, and what can we expect Rudolph to gain from Irv Smith being out? Now that doesn't mean that Rudolph ends up getting all the targets, right? But we can get a pretty good baseline that stacks us up against other receivers. So over the last 4 games, let's see. Last 4 games, Rudolph has also been 4-1, 4-2. So I think of a 5 to 6 target week is in line for Rudolph. So then we have to look, what has Jordan Reed. Like Jordan Reed has seen in the 4 games that he's played this year, 2, 8, 6, 2. And the 8 and 6 are games with Kittle out. You probably got to go Reed here. Even though in week 9 with Kittle out, he only got 2 targets. Targets are going to be what matters here. And I'm going with Reed, but it's light, and I could switch. Somebody could convince me out of that. Devontae Parker or Christian Kirk, half PPR. This one's tough for me. I'd probably go Devontae Parker.
I think so too. You go the better talent and the number 1.
And Preston Williams is out.
Yeah.
Shark or Marvin Jones?
Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones. No. Okay, so Devontae Parker, Christian Kirk was for Jordan over on YouTube, and then Michael Chang asked about Shark and Marvin Jones. I'm going Marvin Jones because of the weather. Home Slice says thanks. James Robinson or Nick Chubb, PPR. In PPR, I'm starting James Robinson every week. Nick Chubb,
yep.
he's sharing a backfield with somebody, and he doesn't catch passes. Green Bay does struggle against the run, but James Robinson is literally game proof, right? Script proof. He runs the ball. He gets 20 carries. He gets targets. I don't see a reason why right now in 2020 we would consider sitting James Robinson. Chubb is
agree.
always, he's always 2 touchdown, 150 rush yards ceiling, right? He's great running the ball, but he doesn't have that pass. He could also get 100 rushing yards and score you exactly 10 points. I had Tyreek Hill on bye. Who would you guys flex? Brandon Cooks, Ayuk, Ingram, or Dobbins. I'm going Brandon Cooks here, even in the wind. He's the only one that I trust out of these four. So Brandon Cooks is my answer. I don't love it. It could be a dud. This wind is crazy. But, Brandon Ayuk could be second for me. I want to start Dobbins. I want to start him everywhere. But I just can't right now. Do I start A-Rob? He may not play tomorrow. I have Swift, Boyd, Antonio Brown, Rager, who could replace him. I probably just throw in Antonio Brown, and it sucks unless we hear that A-Rob's most likely going to play. Let me check Twitter real quick, right? Because I want A-Rob in if he's playing. Robinson. Latest. Seems like Twitter has all of the same questions we have about Allen Robinson. And then PFF just drops in with most targets without a drop this season. Allen Robinson, 76 targets without a drop. Keenan Allen, number 2, and then Travis Kelce, then Devontae Adams.
These guys are all pretty good.
Right? Yeah, everybody has the same question as Allen Robinson, so we don't have an answer here. Unfortunately, I would sit him with the options that you've got, and I would go with AB.
Yep.
But I don't love it.
You pretty much have to.
I knew Zaire. I knew Alexander was out. But the wind is the issue. It's not Shark. It's not the talent. It's not that. It's Lutton 1. Wind 2. That game is supposed to be one of the ones most impacted by the wind. So that's an issue. AB, Fournette, or Darrell Henderson, full PPR. I'm going with Antonio Brown.
Absolutely.
Jay says Will Fuller or Henderson Jr. in the flex. Fuller facing weather. I don't want to play Henderson. Especially in this game versus Seattle. Seattle's not bad against the run, and just they get historically bad torched by the pass. I'm going Will Fuller here. Don't love it.
Absolute. Yep, Will Fuller.
Bobby Schmerda says start Travis Fulgham, Jalen Rager, or Justin Jefferson PPR. What do you think? I'll let you answer this one first. I feel like you wait on me all the time.
Yeah, I think about this one. I love Fulgham so much, but I'm gonna go with Justin Jefferson.
I'm going Jalen Rager. So
yeah, I figured that one.
The guy that you did not mention out of the three. If anybody's affected by Goddard, a healthy Goddard, and Alshon Jeffrey, it's Fulgham. It's not Rager because he's just completely different. And then Jefferson with the bad matchup. The weather's a little iffy with Philly, New York, but not terrible. I go with Rager out of those three, Bobby.
I don't think that's his real name. Bobby Schmurda's a rapper.
Maybe it's Bobby Schmurda. He has
he's in
YouTube.
jail.
Is he?
I think Bobby Schmurda's in jail.
Maybe he's got Sunday fantasy time that he gets. I don't know. ISO only. Yo, what's good, fellas? What's good? What's good? 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Higgins, Robbie Anderson, Antonio Brown, Diggs, DJ Dallas, Robbie Anderson, and Stephon Diggs at wide receiver. And then Antonio Brown at flex.
Yep.
Start 3. Brandon Cooks, DJ Moore, Ayuk, Deontay Johnson, full PPR, leading Deontay at flex. I'm going with DJ Moore. I'm going with shit. We've got Brandon Cooks in a bad weather game, Deontay Johnson in a bad weather game, and Ayuk getting covered by Marshawn Lattimore. Most likely.
He needs 3.
He needs 3. So DJ Moore's in, and then I'm still going Cooks and Johnson.
Yeah, those guys are short to medium, still good short to medium route runners. So hopefully the wind could benefit them in some sense of doing maybe a little crossing or slant routes.
T. Higgins or Justin Jefferson?
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson for me as well. Neither have great matchups, but weather is the second factor for T. Higgins. Is Antonio a starter? Yes, unless you have better options, but a lot of the better options are getting wrecked by weather.
He's Antonio. Is that Gibson or Brown?
I'm assuming he's talking Brown. If you're talking Gibson, yes, but not if you have better options.
Again, right?
It's let's say it this way, right? Like almost anybody that unless we're talking crazy and we're getting into like 5th, 6th string wide receivers and shit. Everybody is startable depending on who else you've got. Not everybody's sittable though, right? Like Stephon Diggs, we talked about earlier. I'm never sitting Diggs. Just throw him in your lineup. Disregard weather, disregard matchup, disregard everything. Diggs is in your lineup. Same with Adams, Hopkins, Julio, DK Metcalf. Like right tonight, he's got a bad matchup today, but we're not sitting DK Metcalf. Like very few of those guys. Breeze or Goff? Goff. We've talked about it. Seattle's given up more passing yards this year than I believe it was San Francisco and Baltimore did all of last year. And they've played 8 games. Literally half their season, they've already given up more passing yards than those teams did all of last year. They're on pace to be the worst pass defense in history by a fair margin. We want to start anybody we can against Seattle. Any quarterbacks first up for sure. And if the Rams are smart, they come out and they just pass. They don't even worry about the run.
Right.
Like that's what Buffalo did last week. They came out and they just pass, and just tore them up. So that's where we go there. So that was the last question we had. It is 11:38. I'm gonna give 7 minutes here. So if you got questions, get them in. If you would, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. It helps us out a ton. We do this every Sunday morning for free. So if you could, pay us back with a like and subscribe on YouTube. We would greatly appreciate that. And it would help out a ton. You watch the video?
It's my dog.
Oh. I heard dogs, but it sounded like weather in Pittsburgh is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, upping the wind impact here, he says. Sustained winds around 20, 30 miles per hour with gusts around 50. What a day. I'm going to refresh this, make sure we're having... Okay, so current measured winds ahead of each game shortly. In the meantime, a little reminder about bad weather games. Expect more carries and dump-offs, fewer deep throws. In season long, don't bench your studs. We've been telling you that.
Right.
In DFS, GPPs take advantage of low ownership and take a shot on bad weather games. Fade QBs and wide receivers in cash from those games. Could they get there? Yes, but it's a better GPP play than running them out there in your cash lineups where you can't afford to get zeros.
Right.
Cleveland is likely the windiest game of the day, followed by Pittsburgh, followed by Green Bay. So Green Bay, who was at one point the game that was supposed to be most affected, has been moved down. All three games will have wind gusts between 40 and 55 miles per hour. Rough. That's crazy. But it does make me want to go put in a Rodgers to Adams with a Robinson bring back in a GPP.
Right.
Just because it's probably going to be not owned at all, and if they go off, it'll be huge. Kalen Balaj or Kenyon Drake. It's Kenyon Drake if he plays.
Yeah. I agree.
Lance, I cannot get on the whole Balaj bandwagon here. He was literally maybe the worst running back in NFL history statistically last year. It was bad. But he is getting opportunity now, and opportunity means points. Any other questions? Goff or Wentz? Goff.
Goff matchup.
Goff. Literally outside of, especially with this weather, outside of Kyler Murray, Russ Wilson, outside of outside of Kyler Murray, Russ Wilson,
what about Lamar?
Josh Allen. Allen, you got to have in there.
Lamar?
Lamar's iffy right now.
I think he runs
Lamar's
over
got the
the
ceiling,
Patriots.
right? We know Lamar's got the ceiling, but
I think he has one heck of a night rushing. So.
Yeah, we've thought that all year. He just hasn't seen that. It just hasn't happened. But I mean, all I was getting at is Goff is there's maybe 3 or 4 guys that are ahead of him this week, and they're all guys like
absolutely.
Kyler Murray, Russ Wilson, Josh Allen, and then you've got Aaron Rodgers, bad weather. He would be ahead of him. Deshaun Watson would be ahead of him, bad weather. Justin Herbert gets a tough matchup. And then you got Goff there with that terrible Seattle pass defense. So let's see ownership here. It's the weather. Rodgers over Watson, right? I actually might go with Watson over Rodgers this week because Watson has more of that rushing upside. And I want that in a game where passing may be tough.
Yeah, and Rodgers is known for getting a lot of his points on medium to deep balls. Might not be as easy to come by.
Tell you what, in GPPs today, I would like to take some shots on Deshaun Watson right now. Projected ownership under 5%. Deshaun Watson at under 5% is very intriguing in tournament plays.
What's Tom Brady's expected ownership? High.
Under 5%.
Oh, is it?
Under 5%, but you beat Carolina on the ground, right? They give up so many touchdowns to running backs. It's horrendous. But we don't know who the running back is. PPR, Will Fuller, Tyler Boyd, or Jalen Reagor?
I'm going Tyler Boyd.
I'm going Tyler Boyd as well.
I thought you were going Reagor.
Short. No. Short passes are less affected by that weather. I love Reagor. I might throw on my Reagor jersey and put him in my DFS lineup and watch him win me millions. Team out of nowhere says Gallman or Josh Kelly. I say, can you find anybody else? Gallman. Terrible matchup, though. Terrible matchup.
Yes, very bad one. I think Allman's good, though. I think he's a talented
I
guy.
do not think he's good at all. I think this is touch related. Not excited about Gallman at all. And you got bailed out on the week I told you that I wouldn't put him in cash because he found the end zone late. Over half of his points, I think, that week were on
it wasn't late. It wasn't in the first half.
Gallman
or the third quarter.
Gallman was late. He was not scoring points that game until it was at least like halfway through the third quarter. Oh, he said team out of nowhere says deep dynasty league on the Gallman. Josh, no, I get it. I've got situations like that too. All my dynasty leagues are real deep. Yeah, I do go Gallman. I don't think he's talented though. Maybe Bryce and I can find a bet here on Gallman. But
no, I'm not betting on.
I mean, that game was against Tampa Bay, and I believe, right? Was that when they played Tampa Bay?
Yeah, I just like his value was kind of low though. That's the only reason I.
But it wasn't,
and
a showdown slate is what we're talking about here, though. It wasn't low.
Yeah.
Because he needed to get to like 13 points to pay off in cash, and against Tampa Bay, like that could be tough for anybody, right? Like even Mike Davis catching passes the way he is, like 12 points we would be happy with, real happy with for Mike Davis. So from a cash perspective, that's why it was almost impossible for me to ever think about Gallman in that scenario, because literally without finding the end zone, you got what he did. Now, and touchdowns are so variant, we can't guess that Gallman is going to get into the end zone against Tampa Bay because running backs just don't get into the end zone. So you got kind of bailed out in that scenario. I don't know if you cashed or not that night. I hope you did.
Yeah, it was like a $5 double up, and I did.
Oh well, geez, I wouldn't have gave you so much shit if I known it was only $5.
Yeah, it was just for fun. I usually don't do pretty big in the showdowns. I don't, because you just gotta. It's so dependent on that captain spot. Like if you mess that up, you're pretty much doomed everywhere else. So I just put like maybe $5 max on it.
Yeah, okay, that's it. We're out of here. We appreciate everybody coming by. Appreciate all the questions. Hope we answered them all for you. Hopefully you guys win and win big. That is it for this week of the Fantasy Tailgate pregame show. Bryce, good luck, brother.